Hello my friends, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and today is day 29 of the Virtual Violin Practice Playalong. Thank you so much for joining me here today for our daily practice. Today is going to be a good one because we are going to work further and develop our shoulders. We are also going to improve our spiccato playing. Then we're going to practice our second day of our vibrato exercises, and we're going to make our improvisation a whole lot more professional later on in this video. So let's go and get started, and let's get your violin and your bow. We're starting by tuning up today, so here is your A. This is your E. Your D string, and the G string, and let's tune in double stops now, A and E together. A and D. And G and D. Lovely. And we're going to start today without our violin and our bow. So let's put them down for a moment. And let's join in lifting up our shoulders up to our ears. Lift them really up as high as you possibly can and then drop them down into their lowest position. And let's practice that again, shall we? Raise your shoulders up towards your ears and then drop them down. Now give them a good roll backwards. Lovely, and a good roll forwards. And let's do that again, shall we? Lift your shoulders up and then feel that relaxed state. And again, lift them up and relax them down into their lowest position. Now this time, when we lift our shoulders up, I want you to feel your back muscles pulling your shoulders down if you can. So lift your shoulders up into their highest position. And now pretend you're pulling down your back muscles and drawing your shoulders down. Let's do that again, shall we? Up into their very highest position and down. Now really imagine you're drawing your shoulders down like that. Good stuff. Now let's spread our arms out sideways so your fingers are shoulder height. And let's do the same. Lift your shoulders up and pretend you're drawing them down from your back muscles. And up again. Up and down. One more time. Up and really draw your shoulders down into their lowest position. Good. Okay. Lovely job. Let's pick up your violin now. And your bow, I should say, as well. And what we are going to do is just to see if we can do that and feel that our shoulders are down into their lowest positions and up and down, and you will notice that over the course of the next couple of weeks you will become more aware of where your shoulders are, And that's a good thing, because you might even, whilst you're playing your normal repertoire, you might even start to feel when that shoulder is coming up and then think, oh yes, we were going into that lowest position, you see. Now, also when we're playing our spiccato bowing, which we're going to do next, we want to always play our spiccato bowing with our right shoulder into its lowest position. So let's just go over the spiccato bow stroke once again. This is the bouncing bow stroke, which you play at the balance point of your bow, and it's going to go like that. Now, 3 things you want to remember with your spiccato bowing. One we've already briefly mentioned. You're going to be at the balance point of the bow, so I'm hoping you've still got your little marker on your bow. Can you see it? Our second ingredient of a good spiccato is a good bow hold, so let's check over your bow hold. And not only a good bow hold, but we also want to have very flexible fingers, because our fingers are going to be our shock absorbers. And then we're going to start the spiccato from our right elbow. So with this elbow, we're going to draw tiny little smiley faces in the air. Now you can do it like that, of course. You've already guessed it. We're going to drop our shoulder down and then play our little smiley faces with our right elbow. So let's just practice that on an open D string, shall we? Make sure you're at the balance point, fairly near to the bridge. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. Okay, now I want you to do the same thing. And now I'd like your thoughts to go first to your elbow. Am I drawing smiley faces that are small enough? Or are my smiley faces so big that my violin is bouncing off the string? Then as you go along and you think, yeah, my smiley faces are good, I'm happy with them, then focus your attention on your right fingers. Are they really your shock absorbers? Are they really bouncy when you play? If the answer is yes to that question, then you move your focus on to the balance point. You think, am I really at the balance point, or have I sneakily moved up or down a little bit? So let's do that in our next practice, shall we? Here we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and lovely job. And you perhaps noticed when I was looking at my elbow or looking at my hand or looking at my contact point here that I was focusing on the 3 different things. So in a second we're going to do that again, and this time I want you to listen as well as you can to the start of each note, and you want to achieve this. So a very gentle start to each note. If you hear this, I actually hear 2 things now. First of all, it starts with a crunchy sound, which is not what we're after, and what you can do about that is to do more elbow and use more shock absorbers so that you're not crashing in the string as hard. The second thing that I was noticing, maybe you've already spotted that as well, is that my down bows are much louder than my up bows. So you want to try and make your up bows and your down bows of the same quality. So listen out for that as well. So this is multitasking to the full, isn't it? So you want to think about your elbow, think about your bow hold, think about your balance point, and then listen super carefully to whether you are starting with a mellow sound or whether it's a crunchy sound at the start of each note, and then whether your ups and downs are all of the same quality. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Very well done. And you'll find that as we practice that day after day, that will get better and better, and the quality will go up, as do the qualities of all your different techniques that you're practicing. So I'm hoping that with this series of lessons, the whole quality of the technique that you use with which you play the violin is going up big time. So now let's think about our vibrato. And in our previous lesson we were thinking, just pop your bow down, that'll be fine. In our previous lesson we were thinking we're going to slide, and we're going to slide from our elbow. So we want to make sure that all of this is sliding at the same time. So what we're trying to achieve today is that we're not waving with your wrist like that, but your wrist keeps straight and you're just going up and down like that. And we're going to aim for these little tracks in our fingertips. So let's start on any finger you like and let's give it a go. Lovely, change fingers. Make sure you're not shaking your wrist like that at all, but this is all one movement, like that. Very good. Next finger. Awesome, change fingers one more time. And again, make sure that movement comes from right here and you're keeping your wrist straight. So we don't want to see any trace of that, okay? So see if you can keep it all straight. Awesome. Let's have a look at your fingertips, shall we? And have you got one line on each of your fingers? I don't know if you can see that. They're a little bit vague, and because I was doing it wrongly there, you can see some more lines maybe further down my fingers, but you should see just one little track in your fingertips. Now that is good. If you have got as far as that, awesome, you are making really good progress with your vibrato. Now, as I said before, vibrato goes in different steps, and our next step that we're going to take is that we're doing this same exercise again, but this time we're going to count to 4. Pick any finger that you like, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you make sure that you get a frequency that is even. So vibrato is not nice later on if we go fast and then slow again and then fast again. We're looking for an even pace of all those vibrato wobbles. So when you're happy that it's even and you can count along, change fingers, and then we're going to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you find that it's very tricky to go as fast as I'm going, try to lighten your finger again, because there is this discrepancy, isn't it? You want to push your finger down and then it won't move. Okay, so make it as light as you can. Change fingers again. And then we're counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really good. And if you've still got a summoner, let's practice your last finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Right. Give your arm a well-deserved break because that is really hard work for a left arm. Okay, now then, let's focus our technique now to our bow hand, and you can remember that we were practicing clockwise circles last time, weren't we? So we're going to progress with that a little bit more as well. So you want to keep your forearm flat and see if you can just like that draw clockwise circles in the air with your hand. At the same time, we were aware at the start of this lesson that this shoulder is low, weren't we? So make sure it is low also when you do that now. So draw little clockwise circles. Now, just out of interest, let's see if you can go anti-clockwise as well. Okay, and now go clockwise again. Very clever. Now let's pick up your bow. Now, can we have a good bow hold and do the same clockwise exercises? So again, your shoulder is down, and again, your forearm is horizontal and still. So we're not doing all of that. So we're keeping this still here, and see if you can do your clockwise circles. Do it slowly. That is how you learn your technique the best, isn't it? Make your movements really slow and analyze them in your head. There. Now let's go the other way. We might as well practice that as well today. Okay, let's go the other way again. Smashing. Okay, now let's practice our string crossing, shall we? We're going to start down bow on the A string, roughly in the middle of the bow. Go slowly. Now go clockwise. And you know, I take no notice of other sounds that might happen. You heard me by accident play a D string. That's okay, because we're not working on the string crossing itself, but we're just working on perfecting the technique, which is a slightly different thing. Okay, when you are playing this technique in your own music, yes, of course you don't want any other noises. And then you might also want to make sure the bow is flat. But at this stage, no, we're not worried about that at all. We're just seeing if we can get that wrist to move, you see. Now, let's play our D major scale. And we're going to play our D major scale now, playing spiccato, every note 8 times. So, let's be ready. At the balance point, remember your smiley faces. Remember your flexible fingers. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. Well done for keeping that going. And you'll find that every day you practice more spiccato, you get better at it. That's awesome. Now, we're going to play the D major arpeggio now. And we're going to play it with long bows. And while we do that, we'll keep this shoulder down and we're stretching our bow arm forwards. And we're trying to let the weight of our bow arm go into the string as we have done in the past. So here we go, D major arpeggio. We'll play the whole arpeggio and then the whole arpeggio with a repeat. And... Lovely. So we played the D major scale and arpeggio just to get those notes straight in our heads again. Which notes are the notes of the D major scale? We know perhaps by now that the D major scale has got 2 sharps in its key signature, the F sharp and the C sharp. And we also know all the notes in the D major arpeggio. And we're going to be needing this knowledge in our improvisation, because we're going to do 3 different phrases of improvisation. The first one is going to be in the key of D major, and so is the last one. So we're going to start in D major using all the notes of the D major scale and arpeggio, and we're going to finish on the D major scale and arpeggio as well. But in the middle part of our improvisation, we're going to what's called the dominant in D major. So we're going to play notes of the A major scale. Now you may remember, or you may have forgotten it, that doesn't matter, because I will remind you. The A major scale has got 3 sharps, an F sharp, a C sharp and a G sharp. And a G sharp is an important note for us because it does not appear in either section that is in the D major scale, so not in our first section of our improvisation and not in our last section of our improvisation. So you can only play the note G sharp. In fact, I must say you must play the G sharp in your middle section of your improvisation, simply to get that feel that we're now playing in the key of A major. So I'll show you how that goes. And today I'm going to leave lots of time again after my playing for you to experiment with that. I'm going to play 3 well-defined sections, and I'll tell you what I've just done so that you can try and apply that knowledge in your own improvisation. So there will be lots of time. I'm starting with a section that's D major. And now I'm going to carry on in A major. So I want to include, if I can, the G sharp. And now I want to finish my improvisation in the key of D major again. So what I'd like you to do is to have a go and think about these 3 distinct sections: D major, A major, so I must use the G sharp, otherwise it's still D major, and then finish again without the G sharp. So include only the notes of the D major scale. Off you go. I'll give you lots of time. So, shall we now play a different one? So again, our same rules apply. So we're going to play in D major, then our middle section is going to be A major, then our final section is going to be including the notes of the D major scale again. Let me think of a different one. I'm going to start on this top D again. So you see, I very clearly was playing around with that G sharp, and then as I came down from my top A, I deliberately played the G natural to indicate that we were back into the key of D major. So you have a go. Experiment for yourself how that might work. night. Super. It's so good simply to have a go and just to experiment with that. Whatever the result, I really don't mind what the result is so much, so long as you start to think along these lines. And then you might think, actually, I have got to think a little bit more about that key of A major, which I will do in this third improvisation. So again, we're doing the exact same thing. I'm starting in the key of D major. This is my bit in A major. And now I'm going back into D major. Have a go yourself. That was really, really nice, and I'm so glad that you may have overcome your initial reluctance of trying these things out, and you're doing great. We're not looking for any perfection, by no means, but just having a go and trying to work out how these different keys relate to one another is such a valuable thing for whatever you study. So whether you are a beginner or a more advanced player, becoming more aware of which key you're playing in is going to make your performances much more expressive, because you know which notes are more or less important in the different keys and which notes to bring out, and also which notes to not bring out by accident. So that is going to enhance anything that you will play in later life. So well done for sticking with me. I'm ever so grateful that we're still here in day 29. So tomorrow is day 30, and I really do hope you'll join me then. But for now, please feel free to do more improvising if you fancy that. And any practice that you can get is so good. So well done for today, and I very much look forward to seeing you in day 30. Goodbye.